Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm prepping the skin on the underside, flesh side. Just kind of scraping off some of the fatty tissue that didn't come out in the tanning process, or didn't come off in the tanning process. So it really didn't have to be perfect, but you don't want to have any kind of ridges and stuff. Some of these skins had a lot of extra fatty tissue left on them. You really just take your fingernail and scrape them like that. But as you can see, there's not a lot on this particular skin. So anyway, what I do at this point is, since this part of the skin is really wide and it starts to get narrow, I'm going to put the fatter tube of the Junior Gent 2 right here. And then I'm going to cut okay. Then I'm going to set this to the side. Take my lower tube, measure for it. Okay. Now, typically how I handle what I do is I will set this tube right in the center of the pattern of the skin. Pull this like that. Make a couple of special cuts so that I can better hide the seam. And then what I have is basically a little bit wider than the section itself. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to go back through here and try to pull off these little scale coverings. And I try to have good lighting, and that way I can see the reflection of these things. They tend to show up really well with light, really good lighting. And see, there's a lot of small pieces on there, but I'm going to try to get as much as I can. Again, you won't get them all, but you'll get most of them. You'll probably get about 99%, but there's always that one that you miss, and like that little piece. See if I can get that out. I don't know if you can see that. It's really small, but just that little piece can trap a little piece of air and a little pocket of air and cause some problems for your casting. So okay, so now at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to got some in there too. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to check my seam. Okay, there's the pattern. I'm going to check where I'm going to seam it over. Make a few cuts. I know everybody wants to know what I use. If you can figure it out by the way it looks in the video, then more power to you. If you can't, that's just a secret. That looks good right there, so I lift this. Typically what I'll do is I'll test both sides and see which side looks best. I don't think that one looks as good as this one, personally. So we're going to go with that one. So what I do is I pull that off, tell myself, okay, that's the one that I'm going to roll first. So I'm going to take a bead of super glue, okay, I'm going to take a bead of super glue and just run it right down the middle. I'm going to take the tube and I'm going to roll this tube around just like that. Kind of make a nice little layer of CA on that skin, and then I'm going to push forward and roll that right up like that. Just that simple. Okay, then the next step is I'm going to take some CA. I'm going to run a little bead right there, lay it back down, and run it the rest of the way like that. And then I'm going to do this. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to get a nice adhesion of super glue all the way around the tube, and then I'll let that dry for 24 hours. And I mean, you can cast it right away if you want, but sometimes you have outgassing of the CA, but a lot of times you don't really notice it. Okay, so I'm going to go back through here and I'm going to double check a couple of straggler scales. And anyway, there's the seam right there. So looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go back through here and check for pieces of scales that I didn't get. Okay. I know others have made these videos, but I figure that some people may want to know how I do mine, and this is how I do it. Couple little pieces. For the most part, though, looks pretty good. And what I do, another reason I'll let that dry a little bit too, is because right here, this will get, stiff from the CA, and it'll allow me to trim that nice and flush. Okay. I'm sure others have their own ways of doing this. This is just the way I do it. And then I chamfer the edge like that. Trim the other side. Chamfer the edge, pick off all those extra pieces. Looks like I might have missed a little bit. Sometimes if you get a good CA coating on here, it's going to be really stiff. See that right there? Doesn't look like it got much any at all. And I'll just very carefully add a little dot. Roll that corner, and then I'm going to go in here and clean up that CA, because that CA is going to... Anyway, there it is. Okay, done deal.